Adaeze had just married Obinna, a man she barely knew. It was an arranged marriage orchestrated by their families. The union was celebrated with so much joy by the families. But behind the smiles and laughter, Adaeze felt a void. Obinna was kind and respectful, but love was a language neither of them spoke. So months later, Adaeze and Obinna settled into a routine. They eat together, exchanged pleasantries, and attended family gatherings, but their nights were often silent. The intimacy that usually blossomed in marriages was absent, leaving Adaeze feeling more like a roommate than a wife. Yet, as time passed, something unexpected began to stir within her. Adaeze found herself drawn to Obinna's quiet strength, his gentle laughter, and the way he cared for his family. Slowly, she started to develop feelings for him, but the thought of their arranged marriage made it difficult for her to express her emotions. 3 years later, they were unable to conceive. The pressure from their families grew heavier, and whispers of disappointment filled the air. Adaeze felt the weight of expectation pressing down on her, and with each passing month, her hope kept dashing. Obinna too seemed affected by the situation. His once bright appearance started fading. So one evening, after a tense family meeting, Adaeze found herself alone in the garden, staring at the stars. She felt a surge of emotion, a longing for the love she had begun to nurture for Obinna. Just then, she heard footsteps behind her. It was Obinna, his face shadowed in the moonlight. "Adaeze," he said softly, "are you all right?" She turned to him, her heart racing. "I'm just thinking," she said. "About what?" he pressed on, taking a step closer. "About us," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. "About how we've been living like strangers in our own home." Obinna's expression shifted, a flicker of understanding crossing his face. "I felt it too. I want us to be more than this." In that moment, a fragile connection sparked between them. They began to talk, sharing their fears and dreams, and for the first time, Adaeze felt loved. They decided to work on their relationship, to explore the depth of their feelings for each other. However, as they began to grow closer, Adaeze noticed something strange. Obinna would often receive late-night phone calls, his voice low and urgent. When she asked him about it, he brushed it off, claiming it was work-related. But Adaeze's intuition nagged at her, and she couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. So one night, Adaeze pretended to be asleep. She decided to follow him. She slipped out of the house and trailed him through the quiet streets. Her heart raced as she watched him enter a bar. Peeping through the window, she saw him sitting with a woman, their laughter echoing in the night. Adaeze's heart sank. The warmth she had begun to feel for him turned to ice. Determined to confront him, she pushed open the door and stepped inside. The atmosphere shifted as Obinna was shocked to see her. The woman beside him looked equally surprised. "Adaeze," Obinna called out, rising to his feet. "What are you doing here?" "Who is she?" Adaeze demanded, her voice steady despite the rage inside her. Obinna hesitated, glancing between Adaeze and the woman. "She's just a friend from work. We were discussing a project." Is this why you've been so distant lately? Adaeze's voice trembled with hurt. Is this why we've been unable to connect? Before he could respond, the woman spoke up. Obinna, maybe you should tell her the truth. The words hung in the air like a heavy fog. Obinna's face paled and Adaeze felt her heart race. What truth? Adaeze pressed further, her voice rising. Obinna took a deep breath, his eyes filled with regret. Adaeze, I didn't want you to find out this way. I've been seeing her for some time now, but that was before we connected. Adaeze's word crumbled immediately. The love she had begun to cultivate shattered that moment. You've been unfaithful to me, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. I'm sorry, he said, his voice breaking. I never meant for it to get this way. I thought I could find a way to make it work, but I was wrong. Adaeze felt a mix of anger and betrayal surge through her. The man she had started to love had been living a double life, and the dreams she had begun to build with him crumbled before her eyes. You don't get to say you're sorry, she said, her voice steady, despite the storm inside her. You've taken my trust and thrown it away. As she turned to leave, Obinna reached for her arm. Desperation etched on his face. Please, Adaeze, don't go. We can fix this. I'll end things with her immediately, I promise. But Adaeze shook her head, her heart heavy with the weight of his betrayal. You've already made your choice, Obinna. I deserve better than to be someone else's second option. With that, she walked out of the bar, the cool night air hitting her like a wave. She had thought that they were finally on the path to love, only to discover that the foundation was built on lies. Adaeze decided to focus on herself, pouring her energy into her work and rediscovering her passions. She found comfort in her friends and family, who rallied around her, offering support and love. Yet, the ache of betrayal lingered, a constant reminder of what could have been. So one evening, as she was preparing dinner, her phone buzzed with a message from Obinna. I miss you, can we talk? Adaeze hesitated, her heart torn. Part of her wanted to hear me out, to understand why, but another part of her knew that some wounds were too deep to heal. She decided to ignore the message, choosing to prioritize her own well-being. Weeks later, she received a call from her mother, her voice trembling with urgency. Adaeze, you need to come home. It's about Obinna. Fearing the worst, Adaeze rushed to her family home. When she arrived, she found her mother waiting for her, her face paled. Obinna was in an accident, she said, tears streaming down her cheeks. He didn't make it. The news hit Adaeze like a punch to the gut. She felt a whirlwind of emotions, shock, guilt, and an overwhelming sense of loss. Despite their issues, he had been a significant part of her life, and now he was gone forever. As she sat in the living room surrounded by family, she couldn't shake the feelings that there was more to the story. Why had he been out that night? What had he been doing? The questions swirled in her mind, but she pushed them aside, focusing on the grief that enveloped her. Days later, while sorting through Obinna's belongings, she stumbled upon a journal hidden in the back of his drawer. Curiosity kicked in. She opened it, and her heart raced as she read his words. He had written about his struggles with their marriage, his feelings of inadequacy, and the guilt he felt for betraying her trust. But what shocked her the most was the final entry, dated just days before his accident. He said, I've made a terrible mistake. he had written, "I want to make things right with Adaeze, but I fear it may be too late. I've been trying to find a way to tell her the truth about everything, but I'm scared of losing her forever." Tears streamed down Adaeze's face as she realized that Obinna had been trying to change to be the man she deserved. The weight of regret settled heavily on her heart. She had lost the chance to truly know him, to explore the love that had begun to blossom between them. In the days that followed, Adaeze found herself at the crossroad. She could either let the pain consume her or honor Obinna's memory by embracing the love they had started to build. Now we have come to the end of another story. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thank you and see you next time. Bye for now.